Whoa, I'm live. Okay, and I'm barfing a little bit, and I'm gonna have to remember to look at the camera and not myself on screen like I do when I'm regularly filming. So, okay, we're live. My hair is a frizz ball because I live in Essex County in Ontario, and right now it's humid AF outside, and I have no way to control this. This is frizz central, and it's totally fine. I've never gone live before, and I forgot to warn my family that I was filming, so you might hear them in the background, especially my dad outside as he cleans up the backyard, because we're expecting some company later. So, yeah. Wow, I guess I should probably introduce myself at this point. Hey guys, what's up? It's Katrina, aka Ninni, and in today's video, we're going to be talking about how to travel while you're grieving. Because I have traveled a couple times during my grieving process, and they did come at times. The trips came at times when I really needed to just get out of the city, and I wanted to talk about it today because it's kind of fitting, because in a couple days I'm leaving for Europe for 2 months, and I don't know, this topic has just been on my mind lately a lot, obviously, because I'm planning my trip. So yeah, let's just get into it. I have my notes here on my phones so I can remember what I want to say. And the reason why I'm going live today, because I haven't before, is because I'm so strapped for time planning and packing. I don't have time to like set up my camera right now and like traditionally edit a video and put it out there. So that's why it's happening in all in one go today. And minute 40 in, still nobody here live with me. That's okay. So anyways, let's go through this then. Okay, yeah. So I would say I'm a traveler. Like I said, I've traveled a couple times during my grieving process. I've traveled since, and I traveled before then as well. And I really do encourage people to travel because I think it helps people gain perspective on their own situation and their own lives and just the world in general. And even though I realize that your grief can kind of follow you anywhere you're going, sometimes a little trip helps to lift the weight off your shoulders and give you a little break. And here's why. So a few months after Michael passed, I ended up going down to Florida with my best friend and her family for a weekend. It was in February, so definitely a nice weather change as well. And I just felt like I needed to get out of here. And when I think back to those times where I did go on vacation and did take a little trip, it was at times when I really needed it. And when I think back to all those times, to the times where I did travel, I think I've come to understand that your grief can kind of have a geological tie to where you're at, and probably more so in the places that you spent the most time with the loved one that you lost. So yeah, I needed to get out of here. I needed a break from my grief because I felt like I was seeing the same people all the time that reminded me of my days with Michael. And I was passing the places that Michael and I used to go to, and everything was just a constant reminder of the memories I have with him, because that's all I have with him now. It's just memories. So it's just a constant reminder that he was no longer here. And like, you can't escape your grief. You really can't. It does follow you everywhere, but sometimes you just need a little break, and that's okay. So yeah, few months after he passed in February, I went to Florida with the best friend of mine and her family. And the following year I did it again, but this time with another friend. And we went to go to Key West to visit like our mutual friend as well. So they both came at times where I just needed a break from my grief. So yeah, I left. Sorry, I'm just looking at my notes to make sure I'm hitting all the points that I want to hit. So yeah. Yeah. Okay, so looking at my notes. Okay, so yeah, I realized that while traveling and feeling that weight relief, like that relief of weight from my shoulders while traveling, I realized that anybody could very easily find themselves on the precipice of like just completely running away from their problems and their issues and their grief. Even though it follows you everywhere, like it's very easily to to leave and change direction, because that's what feels easiest. And it does take a lot of hard work to sit down with your problems, to sit down with yourself and work through your issues. It's a lot harder to do that than to run away or to shove your problems underneath the rug and act like they don't exist, because you're eventually going to trip over the bump you made underneath your rug, if that makes sense. So, having experienced some things, here are a few of my tips if you are somebody who wants to travel while you're also grieving. So just a couple things, nothing too crazy today. So one is that you kind of have to adjust your life when you're grieving, right? Like, you understand that you don't have all the energy in the world. You know that, if say, for example, you had a pretty draining day, or like even you just heard a song on the radio that reminded you of your loved one, that could knock you on your butt, quite frankly. And that you might need to spend the rest of the day in bed recuperating because you're just emotionally exhausted. And one of the ways that I curbed my life around my grief, that was one of them. But I stopped wearing eye makeup because I never knew when something would trigger me and I would just like spontaneously combust and start crying. So in my opinion, based on that, I would make your first trip away a relatively short one. Like go away for like a weekend, because maybe you might find that, okay, maybe you might have gone into it thinking, I need this trip, I need to get out of here. And maybe you get to wherever you're going and you're like, oh, wow, I'm not having fun. This is not a good time. And I just want to go home. Well, if you go away for a short time, you only have maybe 2 nights away instead of, a week or 10 days or a month or whatever it is you want to go for. I would say leave that first trip, or have that first trip be like relatively short. And I would also say, make sure, and also don't make a lot of plans while you're wherever you're at. Like I said, my first 2 trips were to Florida, where I spent the majority of the time either sitting in a bar having a drink with my friends, or like on a beach, or like shopping with retail therapy. Not the best therapy sometimes. You don't want to drain your bank account. But we didn't make any plans, because the last thing you need to when you're feeling drained and you have no energy is like feeling obligated to like hit up that tour that you paid for, or like make sure you get on time for like the dinner reservation that you made. Like, no one needs that. No one needs that struggle. And you especially don't need it when you're on vacation, when you're just trying to relax. So yeah, also don't make a lot of plans for yourself. Literally take it at a slow pace. And if it feels better for you to be the tortoise and the hare, then do that. My next tip is consider who you're going with. Like I said, my first time out was only a few months after Michael passed, and I was my very best friend, who I've known since I was 5 years old, and her family, and it was to Florida to stay with more of her family. So that I knew I would be like supported in that way. And the second time I went out was with my good friend, and we were visiting our other good friend down in Florida. And those 2 friends actually knew Michael pretty well. And I knew that if I was going to have a breakdown or something, I would be supported. Like in both trips, I knew that I would be supported, which makes it feel really nice, because I feel like if you're with somebody new, or somebody doesn't know your loved one or your situation, I feel like it gives you more anxiety, and you might feel like you have to keep everything really together because you don't want to have a breakdown in front of like, strangers or something like that. I know I felt that way anyways. So that's why I made sure that my trips were with people that were super, super close to me. For example, because even though you're gone away for a weekend and it did feel like good to get away, my grief still followed me. It still met me down in Florida. All right. Like, it's not like I checked that baggage and I never picked it up again. That baggage, they found me again. It's fine. So, one of the things I remember being in like a Macy's dressing room trying on bridesmaids dresses for my sister's wedding, and I had a complete breakdown in the changing room, and had to call my friend in there, and like, thank God I was with her, or else, and thank God I was with her, because she did help me to calm down and got me to like breathe again and stop crying a little bit and whatever. And honestly, thank God she was there, or else I probably would have curled up into a ball and started crying, and then I would have fallen asleep from all the crying, and probably would have been woken up by like a sales lady, like shaking me awake. Like, so thank God she was there. So that's, yeah. So if I could pass on any advice about traveling, it would be that introduce traveling in a relaxing way. Go for a short duration and don't make a lot of plans while you're away, and make sure you're going with people that know you, that know your situation, and that support you and can be supportive while you're away with them. And yeah, going back to it, although I say traveling is really great and you should get out there to like relieve yourself from your grief a little bit, I will say that just be careful that you don't use traveling as a form of escapism. Because like I said, it's not really to your benefit to constantly be traveling and not working on your issues, and not working on the issues that you're having from your grief. Because that'll just really come back to bite you in the butt later on, and you ain't got the time, because 5 years down the road, my hope for you anyways is that you processed enough that you can really get back to having a life again. I know 5 years sounds like a lot, but I'm 4.5 years out from things, and I feel like finally my life is taking the shape I've always wanted it to take. And believe me, it and I've said in a few videos, it took a lot. It took a lot of work and a lot of patience. So, yeah. Back to my notes to make sure I could stay on track for the rest of this video. Oh, that was it. Okay, cool. Because now I'm going to talk about just a note on what's going to be happening moving forward, because I am spending the next 2 months in Europe. And you guys don't even realize how many times I swore. I'm sorry. I usually beep it out. I'm sorry. You guys don't realize how much I swear during these videos and how much I stutter and just like get my words all tangled up in my mouth. So editing is a fun process for me. So let's try to say this again now, once more. Okay, so a note about my upcoming trip. Will I be bringing my laptop and my camera? 110%, because I do plan on continuing to make videos while I'm in Europe. Now, frequency of videos is one issue, because sometimes I'm traveling and I don't have Wi-Fi, and I don't have sufficient Wi-Fi to go live again, for example, or to film something and upload it, because you do need a pretty strong Wi-Fi connection. So I will try my best to get things out like once a week, and maybe more if time kind of allows, because I do want to still do topics of grief while I'm gone, but I'm going to be taking videos of where I'm at and like just travel videos and stuff. And I'm going to start introducing those on my channel as well, partly for documentation, because I have a horrible memory and I like to remember all the things that I have done. So I take pictures and videos a lot, but also because I hope that maybe my travels might inspire you guys to take your own travel time for yourself. Maybe Europe is a big financial and time commitment. So I'm not saying like go to Europe right away. I'm just saying I hope it inspires you that you guys can travel eventually, and it might suck, but traveling's pretty fun. And maybe also just to show you guys that, like, I know you're in your dark moments right now. I know, because I've been there. That you will eventually have a life again, and you will eventually get back to the person you were. You won't be the same person by any means, but I think your interests will probably stay the same for the most part. I mean, mine did anyways. Like losing Michael, like I wanted to start a photography business before I lost him, and then I lost him, and I'm like, well, I can't go back to that life anymore. My life's different now. I have to choose something different for myself. But that didn't last too long. My camera's always in my hand now, so. And even traveling too, like, I don't know. I'm still going back to it. So yeah, so I will still be creating videos on the go, because I don't want to not support you guys while I'm gone, because I get it. So there's that. And yeah, I think that's everything for this week's video. If you're watching this and you would love to leave a comment, please do. Let me know where you first went when you decided to travel again. Let me know any stories or stuff like that. If you have anything to share or add on to this, or you have any tips as well that you could share to people that want to travel while they're grieving, like I fully welcome it in the comments. I think it's great because I would really like the comments to be like more like a supportive kind of system, which I think it is. But I would like it to be like, have a little discussion down there, guys. I support you. Make some friends. Yeah, okay. So take care, guys, because life's fucking again. This channel will never get sponsored. That's fine. Okay, so guys, again, take care of yourselves. And I will see you next week in Italy. Mind blown. All right, my little pumpernickels. Pumpernickels. That's a new one. That's a new one. I will see you guys next week. Ciao for now. Bye.